Episode 4. Intelligence is not data. These episodes discuss execution and governance principles for lawful business and institutional use. All scenarios are abstracted. On January 3rd, the world changed, but while the headlines focused on the arrest of Maduro, the real story is the execution framework that made it possible. Here is how you apply that same absolute resolve to your next market entry or current business operations. Dashboards don't equal insight. Reports don't equal intelligence. Most organizations are drowning in data while starving for intelligence. Today, I want to show you the difference and why it determines execution outcomes. Intelligence matters only if it changes a decision. Data describes the past. It tells you what happened, when it happened, and sometimes why. Data is factual, quantifiable, and retrospective. Data creates dashboards, reports, and metrics. Data makes you informed. Intelligence governs the future. It tells you what could happen, what would stop you, and what assumption matters most. Intelligence is predictive, contextual, and decision-focused. Intelligence creates preparedness. Intelligence makes you ready. The distinction. Data equals revenue declined 12% last quarter. Intelligence, revenue declined because our primary distribution partner is divesting our category. We have 90 days before they finalize the transition. Alternative channels exist, but require 60 days to activate. Data. Customer churn increased 8%. Intelligence? Churn concentrated in mid-market accounts acquired 12 to 24 months ago. They're migrating to a competitor's integrated platform. Our product roadmap doesn't address their integration needs until Q4. We'll lose 30% of this segment by Q3 without intervention. Data informs you. Intelligence positions you to act before the problem becomes irreversible. A SaaS firm prepares a market expansion into a new geography. Leadership reviews data. Market size, attractive. Growth rate, strong. Competitive density, moderate. Customer acquisition cost, within targets. Technical feasibility, confirmed. Every metric supports expansion. Leadership approves the initiative. Teams mobilize. Another report sits in the appendix, regulatory analysis. It flags uncertainty around data localization requirements. Legislation is pending. Compliance implications are unclear. The report is technical, dense, and doesn't include a recommendation. Leadership focuses on the growth data. The regulatory report doesn't change the core business case. It's filed as noted. 3 months into execution, the legislation passes. Data localization requirements are more restrictive than anticipated. The company's architecture doesn't comply. Infrastructure must be rebuilt. Timelines extend 18 months. Economics deteriorate. The expansion pauses. Leadership had data. They had reports. They had analysis. What they lacked was intelligence, the structured assessment of what could stop them and what assumption mattered most. Execution-ready intelligence answers 3 questions. What could block us? Not a comprehensive risk register, not every conceivable problem, the specific conditions that would force you to stop, pivot, or fundamentally redesign your approach. Regulatory changes, competitive responses, technical constraints, resource dependencies, market shifts. Intelligence identifies these before you commit resources, not after they've already stopped you. What assumption matters most? Every strategy contains assumptions. The market will respond this way. Customers will adopt at this rate. Competitors will react slowly. Partners will cooperate. Regulations will remain stable. Most are reasonable. 1 or 2 are critical. If wrong, the entire approach fails. Intelligence isolates that critical assumption and tests it before execution begins. Not with analysis, with evidence, with conversations, with small-scale experiments that reveal reality. What would change our decision? This is the key question. Intelligence isn't about being informed, it's about being positioned to decide differently if reality contradicts your plan. If this assumption proves false, do we stop? Do we pivot? Do we redesign? What would we need to see to change course? When would we need to see it? Intelligence establishes decision thresholds in advance so you can act decisively when conditions change. So before execution, ask, what is the evidence that would cause us to stop this initiative? If the answer is nothing, you're not executing, you're committed regardless of reality. During execution, ask, what early signal would indicate our critical assumption is false? If you don't know what you're watching for, you won't see it until it's too late. After execution, ask, what did we learn that changes our assessment of similar opportunities? Intelligence compounds. Every initiative should inform the next. 3 questions create execution-ready intelligence. What's the one thing that, if true, stops this initiative? If you can't articulate it, you haven't thought critically about your approach. If you can articulate it but haven't tested it, you're hoping. What would we see first if that condition were emerging? Intelligence requires leading indicators, not lagging confirmation. By the time data shows the problem clearly, it's too late to adapt. Who's responsible for monitoring that signal? Intelligence without ownership is decoration. Someone must watch for the signal, interpret its significance, and escalate when thresholds are crossed. As we finish the current episode, intelligence reduces surprise, not uncertainty. Uncertainty is inherent in execution. Surprise is a failure of preparation. Data tells you what happened. Intelligence prepares you for what's coming.